I don't even know how to start this without sounding like I'm either fired up or slightly stressed. Because honestly, I'm both. Right now feels like one of those moments where you can literally feel the franchise standing at a crossroads. Not next year, not eventually. I'm talking about right now. There are conversations happening behind the scenes that could completely reshape what this team looks like around our quarterback, and at the same time, decisions that could define whether we stay contenders or actually take that next step. And here's what's wild. The two biggest rumors swirling around this team, they're totally different moves, different sides of the ball, different philosophies. But somehow, they feel connected, like they're both part of the same bigger question. How aggressive are we really willing to be? We've all felt it. Ever since that major move last year, something's been missing. You can see it on Sundays. You can feel it when the offense stalls. And now, there's real smoke around a potential answer. But it comes at a price. And on the other side, there's another proposal that would shake this roster to its core. And it's the kind of move that screams Super Bowl or bust. I'm telling you, if even one of these happens, Bills Nation is going to have a lot to say. If both somehow connect, that's a whole different conversation. Before we break this down, real quick, if you're a real one who lives and breathes Bills football like this, hit that like button, subscribe to Bills Nation Update. The channel's new, we're pushing toward our first 2,000 subscribers, and if you care about honest fan-to-fan Bills talk, this is the spot. Let's build this the right way. All right, let's get into the first one, because this one hits straight at the heart of what we've all been talking about for over a year now. According to Bill Barnwell over at ESPN, the Buffalo Bills now know exactly what it would cost to go get Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. And the proposed price? Keon Coleman and a first-round pick, in exchange for Thomas and a fifth-round pick. Let that sink in. First off, this rumor even existing tells you something. It tells you the front office understands what we all see every Sunday. This offense does not have a true number one outside receiver. Ever since trading Stephon Diggs in 2024, we've been trying to convince ourselves that by committee would work. We rolled with Keon Coleman. We brought in Mack Hollins, Elijah Moore, Gabe Davis before that. Solid players, role guys. But when you're trying to get over the hump in the AFC, when you've got Josh Allen in his prime, solid doesn't cut it. And Barnwell's reasoning is interesting. He points out that Thomas exploded as a rookie in 2024. 87 catches, over 1,200 yards, Pro Bowl nod. That's not hype. That's production. That's legit number one receiver numbers. But in year two, it dipped. No 100-yard games. Only 3 games over 70 yards. Some drops. Some questions, maybe overblown, about whether he consistently wins in tight spaces. And the Jaguars? They're in a weird spot. They don't even have their first-round pick in 2026 because of the deal they made with the Browns in the Hunter trade. So if they don't view Thomas as a long-term focal point, this might be their cleanest way to get that first-rounder back. Now flip that to us. If you're Brandon Beane, you have to ask yourself, would you give up a first-round pick, especially picking in that low 20s range like we always do, plus Keon Coleman, for a guy who has already shown he can be elite? And I'll be honest with you, I would. I wanted Keon to work. I really did. But if we're being real, and we are real on this channel, it hasn't looked like future superstar stuff. He's been inconsistent. He hasn't separated the way you need a true outside weapon to separate. And if he's the centerpiece of the package, that tells you the league might not value him the way we hoped. But Brian Thomas Jr. with Josh Allen? Healthy, clear-cut number one option. No question about his role. That changes the entire geometry of this offense. Suddenly, defenses can't just squat on the short stuff. Suddenly, safeties have to respect the vertical threat again. Suddenly, Joe Brady's playbook opens up in a way it hasn't since the early Diggs days. And here's the thing. Giving up a first-round pick sounds scary. But when you're consistently drafting in the low 20s, you're rarely getting blue-chip, can't-miss talent there. You're hoping. With Thomas, you're betting on a guy who already showed he can dominate at the NFL level. That's not reckless. That's aggressive. But, and here's where it gets interesting, what if the front office is thinking even bigger than just fixing the wide receiver room? Because while we're talking about adding a weapon for Josh, there's another proposal floating around that would flip the script completely. And it involves moving that same name again, plus even more draft capital, but this time for someone on the other side of the ball. And if you thought this first idea was bold, the second one might be franchise-defining. Let me know when you're ready, because this next one is serious. All right, buckle up. Because this second proposal, this one is the definition of all in. CBS Sports' Tyler Sullivan floated a trade idea that would send Keon Coleman, yes, again, plus first-round picks in 2026 and 2027 to the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for all-pro defensive end Maxx Crosby. 2 first-rounders, back-to-back years. And Coleman. That's not a tweak. That's a statement. Now let's talk about why this is even being discussed. On paper, our passing defense looked elite last year, second best in the NFL, only behind the Minnesota Vikings. That's impressive. But here's the dirty truth. The pass rush did not match that level at all. We ranked 26th in total sacks, 27th in ESPN's pass rush win rate, which measures how often a defender beats his blocker within 2.5 seconds. That's not championship-level pressure. That's bottom-tier disruption. Greg Rousseau led the team with just 7 sacks. 7. For your top sack artist? That's not enough when you're chasing Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and now Drake May twice a year. And here's where it gets even more complicated. Joey Bosa, former 5-time Pro Bowler, is hitting the open market. AJ Epinesa, our 2020 second-round pick, is also set to hit free agency. That edge room could get thin fast. So Sullivan argues that if there's a team desperate enough, aggressive enough, to go full Micah Parsons-type trade compensation and send 2 firsts plus a player, it might be Buffalo. He even suggests that Brandon Beane could be feeling pressure. And honestly, after what happened last season, that's believable. We missed a golden opportunity in 2025. Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow, they weren't even standing in the way at one point. The path was there, and we didn't capitalize. Then, to make it worse, the Patriots won the AFC East. Sean McDermott was fired. Joe Brady elevated to head coach. That's organizational pressure. Josh Allen is an all-pro quarterback. A former league MVP, he's in his prime right now. And when you have that, windows don't stay open forever. Sullivan points out something that stings because it's true. The Bills need to improve the talent around Josh, but they also need to maximize the roster while he's still at his peak. That includes fixing a pass rush that produced the 9th fewest pressures in 2025, according to TruMedia. Now, imagine Maxx Crosby in this defense, one of the most disruptive edge defenders in football, a legitimate game wrecker, the type of player who changes how offenses game plan all week. When you line up against Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow, May in 2026, you'd sleep better knowing number 98 is coming off the edge. But here's the part nobody can ignore: the salary cap. We're already about $10 million over the cap heading into the offseason. Crosby carries a $35 million cap hit in 2026. The majority of that would transfer to us in a trade. That's financial hot water. Now, there is some flexibility. The Bills reportedly have close to $75 million in potential restructure room across existing contracts. And there are possible cap casualties, Dawson Knox or Curtis Samuel, who could be released in the spring to free up over $16 million in cap space. So, technically, if there's a will, there's a way. But 2 first-round picks, back-to-back years, plus a young receiver. Even if some are calling him a bust right now, that's heavy. This becomes philosophical. Do you use your premium assets to give Josh Allen a true number 1 weapon? Or do you use them to unleash a monster on defense who can wreck games in January? One move screams offensive firepower. The other screams defensive dominance. And what's crazy? Both proposals involve Keon Coleman being the expendable piece. That tells you something about how the league might currently view him, and maybe how the Bills are evaluating him internally. Now here's the real question. Are we one elite wide receiver away? Or are we one elite pass rusher away? Because the front office can't do both at that level. Not without mortgaging the future. And when you step back and look at these 2 rumors together, they reveal something bigger about where this franchise is mentally right now. This isn't about patience. This isn't about slow builds. This is about urgency. We are officially in the phase where it's Super Bowl or bust. And honestly, as a fan who's watched this team climb, stumble, climb again, I'd rather go down swinging than sit comfortable and waste Josh's prime. If you had to choose Thomas or Crosby, which one are you taking? Drop it in the comments. I really want to know where Bills Mafia stands on this. And if you're rocking with real, honest, fan-to-fan breakdowns like this, hit that like button. Subscribe to Bills Nation Update. We're building this from the ground up, trying to hit our first 2,000 subscribers. And if you love the Bills and want real conversation, not corporate takes, this is the place. Let's keep this thing rolling. Go Bills!